Hey everybody, it's Donna here from Northstar Tarot. I am doing a VR to Kelly Bear, and the tag is 54321 Tarot. This has been a very popular tag. Everybody seems to be doing it, so I thought I better hop on, or I'm going to be kind of the only one that hasn't done it. So yeah, so I'm here to do that tag. So I picked my 5 decks. So we're going to start with 5 decks, then we have 4 books, 3 spreads, 2 paraphernalia, and 1 advice thing. Okay? So basically, I am going to pick the 5 decks that I use for shadow work. Okay? So, these decks I love for shadow work. They work for me. They allow me to express myself and find out, really get down to the nitty gritty of things, right? So this one is the Legacy of the Divine Tarot by Ciro Marchetti. I can never say his name right, so I do apologize. And I'm going to just show you a few of the cards, okay? We won't go too much into them, and I'll just go down to these cards here. So yeah, so these are the cards that I love to work for shadow work. They just speak to me. They're dark, they're detailed. You know, I get so much meaning out of them, right? I just find things within them that really, really help me discover, you know, the things that are hiding on me, right? So what am I hiding from myself? When I use these, they show up, and it really, really helps me a lot. I love these cards. You can tell they are used a whole bunch. So yeah, so, you know, I do have 2 decks, but the other deck I take to shows, and they are also as used as this one. So it's kind of like I'm going to have to get a new deck soon. But anyway, I just love these decks. So this is my first deck that I use for shadow work. I love it. And I actually love this deck. It's one of my favorites, my all-time favorites. So yeah, so that is Legacy of the Divine Tarot. That is one. So the second deck I use, this is the Heaven and Earth Tarot. And it's a beautiful deck, but it does have that kind of shadowy ambiance to it. Let me just go this way because of the shadow of the light. The ambiance is like, there's like shadows and stuff in the deck that I can see that really allows me to kind of let that unknown stuff linger there, and then I can pull from that, you know, because it does feel that way. It does feel quite shadowy, and it feels like there's stuff lurking in the background, right? And I can work with that when I'm doing shadow work at times. So I do love this deck. It's absolutely beautiful. The only thing I wish, like I do wish that they reprint this and they pick a different font or a bigger font for the names, because the font is just so small. And of course you want to read it if it's there. If it's not there, it doesn't matter. But if it's there, you want to be able to read it. So yeah, so it can be a little distracting, but I love this deck. It is a beautiful deck, and it works brilliantly for shadow work. It allows me to go off and drift, you know, within their shadows of the illustrations, and it just gives me a lot of room to kind of explore and figure out, you know, what is it saying to me. So I absolutely love this deck. It's gorgeous. And for me, it works for shadow work. So that is the second deck. So again, this is Heaven and Earth Tarot. And then I also enjoyed this deck for shadow work. I was going to shuffle it. This is the Book of Shadows Tarot. It has 2 decks. And this is the deck 1, the volume 1. So this, I think it's volume 1. Yeah, it's volume 1. Okay. So as above. So yeah, this is also a gorgeous deck. It has a lot of depth in it. You know, it has, it's very different. You know, like there's, you know, the water and everything like that is, you know, it's all very different, right? There's a lot of changes in the names of things, but it is such a gorgeous deck. And it really works for me to spot some things that I don't want to face, especially with the cups in this suit, okay? So with the cups, I find that it really, really helps me to find out what my feelings are. You know, this, you would think it would be the swords and all that stuff, but it's the cups, right? The Major Arcana is gorgeous in this deck. I mean, it's mostly renamed, but it is gorgeous. I just love it. It is just phenomenal. The way that they did this is absolutely beautiful. The deck is nice and small. It works in my hands well. Yeah, I just love this deck. So as a shadow deck, or a deck I use for shadow work, it's perfect. So that is my 3rd deck. Then the 4th one I use for shadow work is Tarot of Vampires. This is a great book for shadow work for me. I don't find it scary. I actually find it quite beautiful, and it really, really works with all my feels. You know, like I get to use all my feels with it. And so I think that's why it works for me. And again, a gorgeous deck. Not for everybody, but for me, it's an absolute gorgeous deck. I absolutely love it. So this is definitely a deck I use for shadow work. I use it for all kinds of readings, but especially for shadow work. I don't use it for clients very much. I've tried using it, but some clients don't appreciate it. So yeah, so I just don't unless I know them well. So that is my 4th deck that I use for shadow work. So this is Tarot of Vampires. And the last deck I use for shadow work is the Hush Tarot. Now that might seem strange to some people, but I do like to use it for shadow work. It's very antique-y, you know, like old-fashioned-y, and, you know, talks about, you know, the animal spirits and, you know, the human spirits and how they combine. And I really like that analogy, and I like that this helps me to kind of combine that in my mind when I'm doing shadow work, right? And it just helps me look at things in a different way. It gives me more than one angle to kind of look at things. And I like that. So it's not just a one perspective. I find I get, you know, a couple of different perspectives out of this. I get the, you know, the animal spirit, plus I get the human spirit. So it's really, really beautiful. It works very, very well. I like to do ancestral work with it, like past lives and stuff like that as well. So, but it works really, really good for shadow work. So I just love it. Yeah, it's beautiful. Even the colors, right? The colors remind me of years and years ago. Yeah, it's just a beautiful deck. So I use Hush Tarot also for shadow work. So that was my 5 decks that I use for shadow work. So then we have 4 books. So I wanted to, let's see, I may cheat here. I may have 5. First one, I'm going to say that, you know, I think most tarot readers have this in their collection, or probably, you know, it's a nice add to your collection, okay? So it's Holistic Tarot by Benabel Wynn. And it's just so vast, you know. It just has everything that you want in it, right? It is, you know, a history book, an encyclopedia. It's everything, right? It has all, like, just the spreads. It has tarot for love, tarot for yourself, diagnose, like everything. So it just has everything in it. And I think it's really, really well done and very well researched. I use this more of a reference book. I have never read it cover to cover. I only use it as a reference book. I mean, that would take a lot of time to read that cover to cover and to try to digest it all. Yeah, that's hard to do. But I do use it a lot for a reference book. So, excellent book. I suggest that all readers have one. Okay. And then we're going to go from kind of one extreme to the other. This little book, The Kitchen Table Tarot, okay, by Melissa Sinova. I really like this book. It's just simple, basic. It's kind of, you know, gives a little bit of story about each one of the cards. It's just a really cute little book, and it's to the point. Gives a great description without it being overwhelming. A really good little book. I like it. It's just fun and easy to read and just a fun little book. So I love that one. Also, this one I found very, very interesting. Tarot at a Crossroads. And this is The Unexpected Meeting of Tarot and Psychology. This is by Cooch and Daniels, M.A., and Victor Daniels, Ph.D. So I really like the idea of psychology of tarot, and it fascinates me. Psychology fascinates me anyway. So I just love this book, okay? It just has, you know, a lot of kind of different kind of thoughts. And, you know, it gives you different ideas. It gives you different feelings that you can look at. It talks a lot about psychology and how that works with solving problems and stuff like that. And then it goes through each of the major arcana. So here we go. So unlocking the mysteries here, right? So we have the major arcana, and it goes through the major arcana and the ideas, the psychological links of it, and the reflections, you know, and it goes through each of the major arcana. And I thought that was really, really brilliant, right? And then it does just a small things on the suits. Not nearly as in depth as it does with the major arcana, with the minor, okay? But it gives you a little bit. And it's kind of cute, you know. It talks about the symbolism and, you know, and the numerological meanings and stuff like that. And then it kind of links it with psychology as well, right? So yeah, so I do like it. And then at the back they have, you know, templates and an appendix and a biography where they got it all. And I really, really do like it. It was very, very different to read. And it was like a fresh kind of new look at it, right? And I really enjoyed it. So I hope you guys do as well. So that was 3. Now my 4th book, this is just a little kind of book that I put in my purse and would take where I went, you know, for a long time. And, you know, it's just a cute little book. You get to see all the different cards. You get to see, you know, their meanings, symbolism. She gives you an instant answer. This is by Barbara Moore, and it's Llewellyn Little Book of Tarot. And each picture, each illustration is of a different deck. So you get to see so many decks, and I think I just love it for that reason, right? But you know, sometimes when I do readings for myself, sometimes I can get, it's not like you don't know what the cards mean, but you get kind of stuck on interpretation because of your question and because you're reading for yourself, or I do anyway. And, you know, I've been reading for 45 years or more. And I still, you know, that still happens, right, when I read for myself. So I'll pull out this little book, and it helps me. It helps me to keep on track. So I'm not forcing anything to show up. So I'm not forcing any kind of definition or anything like that. I'm not just letting my intuition go wild. So it kind of keeps me on track. So I like that for that reason when I'm doing readings for myself. I keep it handy. And then I'm going to cheat here. I'm going to add one more. It's not really a book. It is. It's not. It is a book that comes with the deck. So this is Phantasmagoria by Ian Daniels. And this is from the Tarot of Vampires. I think it is one of the best little books that I've read, okay? And you don't even need to read it all. I think you get so much out of just the first part of this book. There's so many associations that he displays and talks about. It's such a good book. I just love it. And each card is broken down and talked about in depth. It's a really, really good guidebook, okay? So yeah, so I've heard lots of people mention this guidebook, and I just love it. And again, I focus on the front end of it and not so much on the card readings, but like the card meanings, but those are interesting to read as well, okay? So that is my 5 books that I kind of cheated on. And then we go to spreads. So I don't really have anything to show you when we're talking about spreads, but let me just grab this. Okay, so one spread I do want to show you is a spread that I developed, and I use it a lot, and it's kind of it's like a overall spread. It's going to give you an overall idea of where you are and what's going on and what you can do about it. So it starts off, and I use the work over here, okay? Then I do home over here, how everything's going at home. And then relationships. And then the unexpected, what you don't see is going on, or what you don't see coming at you, okay? And then we have the outcome over here. And I go through this, and then I clarify with another deck of cards. So I clarify with 2 more cards, except for only 1 on the outcome. Usually this card is coming into the beginning card, the outcome here. This is the beginning card of how the week or the month is going to go, or the day. And then the outcome card is how it's going to wrap up. So how you're going to feel leaving this week, month, or day. So yeah, so that's how I use this spread. It works very well. I love it. And it just works for me. So I just absolutely love it. And don't be afraid to make your own spreads and stuff like that. I think we're more than capable of doing that. So that's the one I use often. So that is my spread. So it doesn't really have a name. I guess you could call it Donna's spread. So yeah, and it's a 5-card spread. Then I use 3-card spreads a lot, and different types of 3-card spreads. Past, present, future. Another one I use a lot is desire, conflict, resolution. And then I use a lot of, body, mind, spirit, right? Where are you at with everything, right? But I guess for readings, for in-person readings especially, or longer readings, I use the Celtic Cross. I love the Celtic Cross. I think it has, it's been around forever. It is so tried and true and tried, and it is just so good, right? You have 10 cards, and it goes right from the present out to the outcome and everything in between, right? I just love it. My clients love it. It gives me so much information. So when I'm doing a 30-minute to a 45-minute reading, I always start with the Celtic Cross, unless they're asked me to do something else. I tend to start with the Celtic Cross. So that's my spreads, okay? Next, Paraphernalia. Well, I do like to smudge. So I will smudge before I start my readings. If I'm having clients over in my home, I smudge my house. If I'm going to do online, I smudge before I go online. I can't smudge at shows when I do shows anymore. I do have a spray smudge somewhere here. So I do have a spray smudge that I will bring with me sometimes, depending on who's doing the show, if I can use it or not. So I like to do it that way. But yeah, so anything like that I can do. Like I do like the clearing energy of smudging, and I think it's wonderful. And I think that for me, it just works. It's something I believe in, something that feels good, feels right. It kind of lets me focus and put all my energy. I say a prayer while I do it, and I invite whoever in that needs to come and protect the room and space from whoever shouldn't be there. So I just love it, okay? So that is definitely one of my paraphernalias I use all the time. And I will have to say my other one would have to be crystals, okay? Especially my crystal ball. So I love using my crystal ball. It gets, sometimes when I'm doing lives on, on YouTube, I get, a lot of people asking for their reading from the crystal ball. I get lots with my crystal ball. I think it's beautiful. This one has a lot of inclusions, so it's super easy to read with. Yeah, I just love it. It's accurate. It holds a lot of energy. It just speaks to me. And I always have like crystals around me. So, any kind of crystal. These little crystals. I have a crystal wand. I have huge crystals behind me. Got great big ones. I just love crystals. It's not for everybody, but I do enjoy them. And they have real, you know, they have proven properties, you know, and they're scientifically proven. You know, quartz will amplify. That's scientifically proven. You know, different things like that, right? So, yeah. Anyway, so crystals is really huge for me. Okay, so especially my crystal ball. I just love my crystal ball. Okay, I use a lot of candles too. So, but now that I have kittens, I may not be able to use the candles as much, so I'm very careful with them now. So the last thing is a piece of advice. So I guess for me, my advice, I think, is to be authentic, okay? Whatever else you do, be authentic. Be true to yourself. Listen to your clients, whatever your clients need, or yourself, whatever you need from the tarot, listen to that. Ask with love and ask with gratitude and thankfulness, and you will receive back, okay? To me, it's all about being real. If you don't connect with the deck and you're trying to use it and you're not connecting, you can't pretend that, you know. You either connect or you don't. That's like if you're reading for somebody and you don't connect with them for some reason, just let them know you're not connecting. You know, let's try a different deck, or let's try a different system, or let's try, you know, maybe smudging, and then see if you can connect, right? So yeah, you have to be authentic, and I do believe that you have to be true to yourself and your clients. And I think that is probably the best advice I can give you. Listen to your intuition. Do not listen to what other people are telling you. You have to be you. You have to be authentic, right? Whenever you're reading. And, well, anytime in your life, I think. But especially when you're reading, if you want your craft to be long-lasting. So yeah, so be authentic and listen to your gut. It's very, very important. Anyway, this is my interpretation of the 54321 Tarot. Thank you, Kelly Bear. And I will tag a couple of people, and we'll go from there. But thank you for being here with me. This has been fun, and I hope you enjoyed this video. We'll see you again soon. Bye for now.